In January of 2021, I gave up Facebook. That said, I still have my account, and I occasionally will go back on because a friend will send me a link and say, Kris, go look at this thing. So, I still venture into the metaverse occasionally. And one of the last times that I was there, I stumbled across a post from a colleague in one of my ministry groups. And she wrote this. She said she was trying to write her stewardship sermon, which we clergy like to refer to as the Sermon on the Amount. And she was stuck. She wrote, I can't think of why we need church at all. It's the darndest thing. I've been in ministry my entire adult life. I studied religion in college. I went right to grad school, and I've never looked back. And suddenly I can't think of a single reason the American church should survive. Well, I'm not saying we haven't all been there, but we've all been there. She didn't post really because she despaired of the church, but she needed reminders. She needed inspiration, and she needed the nodding heads of those who had been there and done that. The group she posted in of women UU ministers provided all those good things. And a little bit later, I will share to you what I consider to be the winner of the reasons why we should go to church. 3 years ago, this faith community, like many others, took a pretty big hit as we were suddenly thrust into the previously unimaginable world of plague safety management. Like all those other faith communities, we've seen attrition, not only in the number of members we call our own, but in the attendance of our members. Religious education programs all across the board are still sort of struggling to understand the ways that our children have been affected by 2 years of online schooling and isolation. And in the meantime, some of our elders have discovered, and I don't blame them, the not inconsiderable joys of staying home on Sunday morning and watching it on Zoom. And that's all great. We're happy to have that. You're still a member of the community, of course. Also, they get to have their coffee, they get to be in their pajamas, and no one will sneeze on them. Just saying. The problems that face community UU are those which have always faced UU churches, especially here in Texas. We live in a conservative state. The changes and the growth that Plano have experienced as a city have brought in new voices and a lot of diversity and potential, but the evangelical mindset, as you all know, the extremist mindset, is stronger than ever in many ways. Here we are, sweet little precious UUs, and we are hesitating between the idea that we must shout our message out to the world and we must also create a safe haven to hide away from the world. It's a fine and narrow line to walk. And of course, we face all the same issues that religion in America faces in general. The church is a fading relic. See also my colleagues' comments. Younger members and families, they simply don't have the income to contribute that their parents and grandparents might have had because they're mostly in debt to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. College debt, vehicle, housing debt, credit card debt. And mostly it's not really their fault. This is how the world works today for this generation. There is an endless grinding down that has created the largest divide between rich and poor in this country since we began measuring such things. And then there's always that tricky word, church. Whew. American churches are no better than the American people who make them up. And so American churches are divided and polarized and angry and anxious. The glaring hypocrisy that is so evident in much of extremism, especially in much of extremist conservative Christianity, which is what we see most of here, has soured at least 2 generations of potential Unitarian Universalists on the value of a faith community of any kind. I know of one UU church down in southernmore area of the state, who literally used as its motto for years, because it was so effective, "We're not that kind of church." That kind of church, we all know. And it drives other people away, not just us. So these are our obstacles today as a community, as community. And why are we here? What is the purpose of this place? Well, God knows. Or not, depending on who you ask. Before I tell you in my own words why we're here, I want to share some words from the Reverend Dr. Patrick O'Neill, which this is a small essay of his that it's called "What We Love, We Empower," and I stole the title. But I'm going to read you words that have kept me moving sometimes when things seemed very bleak, I guess. This gives me energy again. He writes, "What we love, we empower. We can't claim to love justice as long as we are willing to tolerate oppression and racism. We can't claim to love peace unless somehow, in some way, we are actually seeking to make peace a reality in the world, in our communities, in our homes. We work for what we love. We invest in what we love. We try to become worthy of what we love and of the people we love. We give of our time, our energies, our attention, and our resources so that what we love might thrive. I want to suggest this morning, dear friends, that this same principle applies to our church as well. The act of membership is not only an act of inclusion into the community, but also an act of empowerment, and yet sometimes we fail to think of it as such. By being a member of a church, you make a statement that what the community stands for, the principles it teaches, the work in which it engages, these are all things that you hold close to your heart and are willing to publicly state you support. By being a member of a church, by virtue of your relationship to the community, you make a commitment to empower the community. And you have a right to expect that the church will empower you in return. One of our lovely board members, Jeanette Bailey, often says, "When you join this church, it will change you. And when you join this church, you will change it." And that's how it works here. It will empower you, this community, by calling you to higher ground, by calling you to greater love and compassion, by calling you to greater caring for the world and its troubles, for the suffering and their pain, for the deprived and their needs, even when they are us. A church community, this church community, I hope, will empower you by calling you to live out your ideals and your principles in everyday life and in everyday relationships. It will empower your children too, if they are here. It will teach them curiosity. Well, maybe we'll learn that from them. And it teaches respect for the good and the holy. And it teaches them self-love and love for others. It will give them safety and encouragement and community in times of celebration and in times of sorrow, just as it has for the grown-ups. This is our great covenant and compact as members of the church. This is what we are here to do and be for one another. By what we do here, by what we contribute, each in our own way here, by the people we become here, by the ideals and visions we embrace and follow, by the families and individuals who are shaped here in the church and who shape us. This is our great covenant and our compact. We are about advancing and empowering the store of love and justice in the world. Those are Patrick O'Neill's words, and I think he says it really, really well. I would like to make the audacious claim that in the past 3 years, you and I together have empowered one another and changed one another and our shared community, and all of them have come out better. Although we have our challenges, this is in many ways one of the healthiest churches I've ever known. Fiscally, we are healthy. Relationally, we are healthy. And we're healthy in terms of our actions and commitments in the community as well. Community UU Church excels at caring for its members to an extent that humbles me and makes me so grateful for all of you every week as I do pastoral work alongside of you. You do the most of it. I show up. There are challenges and there are changes coming, changes in leadership, new faces, new ideas, new beginnings. Oh my God, it's all so scary. The physical and bricks and mortar world of religion in America, it's experiencing a vast sort of tectonic change right now. And we are not sure that we're going to end up with a butterfly at the end of it. It could be something real different. But I believe that the churches, temples, and mosques, which will emerge through this time, are the ones that are able to come through with new vision and insight, the ones who have learned from this time. It's nerve-wracking here at the crest of the wave, but we Unitarian Universalists are frankly much better prepared to respond with flexibility and adaptation to new worlds and new traditions. This church proves that, if only through the small miracle that none of our members, as far as I know, have died of coronavirus, either before or after vaccines. I have done far fewer funerals than many of my colleagues, and that alone shows me that we are flexible, that we can respond in real time, that we know how to move forward in the world. It's such a small thing, and yet it's huge. As I move into my close here, I want to share this, which I feel was the winner of the top 10 reasons why you should join a UU church. And these words, I'm going to read them to you with my notes. And this is on a bookmark that you can purchase from the UUA and give out to all your people. You may not want to do that after I'm finished, but it's fine. This was my winner. It's a bookmark. If you join a UU church, you will find inspiration and support too. Number 1, lead a life of integrity guided by living principles that uplift courage and compassion. I have nothing to add. Expand your heart and mind by learning from ancient wisdom, modern science, and the world's great prophets and teachers. I will only add that you will also learn a lot about knitting, beer brewing, worm composting, and possibly a lot of things about mushrooms, depending on who you make friends with in your congregation. Join a centuries-old liberal tradition of reason and imagination. That one's good. This one's fun. Embody worthiness and liberation for yourself and everyone you meet. And then cut that crap out. Regain humility and humor and actually change people's lives. That's my note. Make your religious home in a community that accepts and cares for your whole beautiful self. Well, that's why we're here. And I hope we're doing that. And if we're not, come talk to me. Let's make it better. Build relationships with people of all ages, identities, beliefs, and backgrounds. That one's pretty true. Cultivate gratitude for the beauty and power of life's moments and milestones. And this one I mentioned because those moments, our sorrows and our joys, as we mention each week, those things are better dealt with in community, whether that's good news or sad news. It's just better. We need each other. Let's see, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Resist injustice and work for a better world alongside friends who share your values. That really should be the first one. If every UU I knew showed up on Sunday and it was Build a House for Habitat Sunday, they would all join. If all the UUs showed up and it was Animal Blessing Sunday, they would all join. The UUs, they want to do things with their friends. They want to have fun doing it. They want to celebrate it. I don't know if y'all heard all those different invitations to parties and things you could do for the service auction, but trust me, it'll be fun because you're going to be doing it with friends who share your values. Hey! Become your best self and help others in your community to do the same. And then heal up, because someone will definitely harm you if you come up and tell them that you're there to help them become their best self. Maybe we should all just relax a little bit and try to be ourselves, getting better. And finally, appreciate. When you join a UU church, you will find the inspiration to appreciate the interwoven nature of the universe and trust that none of us travel life's journey alone. Yes, 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 yes to all that. Moving to the personal, I'm finally going to close with my very own stewardship moment. All right, I hope this will answer the important questions of when I came to UU, why I stayed, and what I'm looking for. Good morning. I'm so glad to be here for this stewardship time with you. It could be awkward. My salary is a budget line on the budget. You can all look up online. But you know what? All the ministers you know are super used to that. We have no embarrassment about it. You know everything I make. All right. I grew up in Waco, Texas, where I now abide again after leaving for a long time and then coming back about 12 years ago. When I was 3 years old, the little liberal house church that my parents belonged to sort of fell apart, and my dad went searching for a new church, not just for us, but also for 2 other families. And we found the Unitarian Fellowship of Waco in 1977, and I don't remember any other faith in my life. I am a cradle UU. I want to tell you about being raised UU. I don't want to be unrealistic. And I don't want to sound like Pollyanna. And I don't want you to believe that like every experience I had at church as a child was wonderful and perfect. But on the other hand, that's actually kind of how I remember it. The UU church was a second home to me and to the other kids there. At school, I had a few good close friends, but I knew young that my wild ideas about atheism were not going to be welcome in the rough and tumble of the public school system of Waco, Texas. I mean, mostly because my classmates kept telling me I was going to hell. And then their parents started telling, their children that I was going to hell. It was not great. At church, though, I could fully just be me. I didn't have to hide anything. I was goofy, I was nerdy, I was curious, I was outrageous. I was a skinny, easygoing kid with a mop of dark, dark black hair that usually was tangled. I had big glasses. I had buck teeth. I weighed, 70 pounds. It was ridiculous. I would gallop up and down the stairs in this big old house that was our fellowship. I felt like I owned the place. I went on nature walks in our city parks with other grown-ups and learned to identify birds by their calls. And I absorbed about 200 folk songs around at least 200 campfires. I attended a Jewish service and a Seder, escorted by my tough, hilarious, elderly RE teacher, who knew everyone in town. And when we showed up at the temple, they were like, Nisi! I'll tell you my one bad memory. Some of y'all have heard this before. I went upstairs one morning to play in an RE room by myself, and I decided, I think I was like 8, to light the space heater on my own. And nothing real bad happened except that the ends of my bangs got curled, and I was very startled and did not want to light heaters for a long time. And I got scolded. And I tell you all of this because my childhood was blessed in 1,000 ways. I had parents and siblings who loved me hard. I was encouraged by almost all the adults around me, and the steady, reliable, ongoing love from the people of my home church. It made a difference. Every adult was a member of my village, and I was a member of theirs as well. 90% of Unitarian Universalists find this faith movement in adulthood. And you know what I hear the most often from people? I wish I'd known you were here. Where have you been all my life? I feel like I finally found a home. And all I can say as one of the, lucky people who got raised here, like these lucky kiddos, is yes, you are finally here, and we have been waiting for you. And this is why we give. My salary is in the budget. I'm happy for you to up it any time. And the budget that we're going to set is going to be based on the pledges that we receive from you. And it's vital so that we can continue building the church we have now. Did you know that today is the 1-year anniversary of us being back in this building? Amazing! 52 Sundays ago. What? What a year it has been. Just those 2 years of making weekly videos almost seem like a dream now. And yet, they were so important and life-giving. But this year of being back in the building has been a big, long, hard-working year and a rewarding one for me, with you, and I think for Community UU as a whole. The deeper reason to give beyond minister salaries and light bulbs and air conditioner repair is for the future. For the children, not just here today, but the ones 7 generations to come. Because we have been blessed by at least 7 generations of loving heretics who have built the communities we love with all their resources, wisdom, toughness, and strength. I want every child, all of them, to have a church where religious education means religious exploration, where it means teaching compassion and justice and love. I want every church to be a place where queer folk are welcomed and anti-racist ethics are fundamental, where our bodies and minds can be as different and diverse as creation allows, and where the others of the world are invited in to the wide circle of community. I want every adult to have that. I want Community Unitarian Universalist Church to be that place for folks in North Texas, the place they can go to ask questions, seek truth, gather for support, inspiration, friendship, the milestones and millstones of life. The place they can grow up, physically and spiritually, starting at age 0 or starting at age 50 or older. So when we ask you to give during these stewardship times in our pledge drive, I'm not asking you with anger and fear. I cannot threaten you with hell if you do not tithe, to my great dismay. But what I can tell you is that the appeal I make is not just for you and I, not just for the children here today, although we are glad they're here and we're glad you're here. It's for the future. It's to ensure that there is a place in North Texas and in the world where we can ask these questions and seek with others who also want to seek, and try to build the beloved community from the inside out. The world needs Unitarian Universalism. It needs it today, and it needs it in the future. North Texas needs this. It needs a place where love is the spirit of the church and service is its law. And so may it be. Amen.